When I first suggested this lecture to some of my colleagues, one of them said to me that she felt that there was an enormous lack of empathy in the world today. And I felt right away that she was both right and wrong. And the difference, I think, lies in the difference between affective empathy, which is automatic and almost universal, and cognitive empathy, which is related to psychological maturity and development. Looking at the psychological skills that are involved, one can predict that there are going to be many ways in which the capacity for empathy can go wrong. As I was saying earlier, there can be a failure at the level of emotional contagion, for example, through a physical handicap like deafness or a neurological difference, or sometimes because it's blunted by addiction. There can be a failure of empathic accuracy because we rarely express our emotions pure, and our emotions can often shift rapidly. There's also the problem of, our social habits of things like white lies and just outright emotional dishonesty. And if you go deeper still, there's all the levels of unconscious defenses that dissociate a person from their emotions, creating discrepancies between surface and depth. So it's not easy for even a highly empathic and highly observant person to ever feel fully confident in the accuracy of their perceptions. And what's worse, people around them may have a conscious vested interest in denying and undermining an empath's confidence in their observations and feelings. We call this gaslighting. When we move to the skill of emotional regulation, many empaths have grown up with caregivers that were not very emotionally skillful themselves and weren't able to teach emotional skills to their children. Or again, worse, they taught their children inappropriate things about emotion, like all negative emotion should be repressed and hidden, or you can only show anger when you are completely out of control. At the level of perspective taking, it may be hard to establish a perspective if you haven't sort of mastered emotional regulation and you're overwhelmed by your own feelings or the feelings that are coming from someone else. At the fifth level, the level of concern, we can have too much or we can have too little concern. For many people, if their caregivers growing up were very needy, they may have exploited or over-encouraged a child's natural empathy. And this is the level at which we find the situation of the parentified child. Many wounded parents have left naturally empathic children with too much rather than too little empathy for others. And this is Alice Miller territory, drama of the gifted child, right? But here we're talking about the empathically gifted child. An empath who's been raised with an overactive response of care and compassion without the ability to regulate their own emotions or to create boundaries is likely to have problems in adulthood, such as giving too much in friendships, not being able to say no at work, and attracting partners that take more than they give. And these patterns inevitably lead to what we can call empathy burnout, or if it's in a professional, we call it compassion fatigue. And because of the danger of empathy burnout, a certain number of empaths conclude that they have to make a bitter choice, either to give themselves utterly to the effort that their empathy tells them to save and repair, that their empathy tells them that they should do, or not at all.